Oh, hello Internet, magicman here from MMOBomb.com, and welcome to the free-to-play cast, episode 115 from MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. We've got some good stuff, including some revisiting of some topics we talked about last week, so let's get right to it with that co-host extraordinaire. You know him, you love him, the king of awful ideas. Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
Like the topics, I am also recycled.
Yeah, it does seem a bit like, well, you know, hey, you saw some Star Trek footage last week. You're going to see some more this week. I put it in a different place on the video, though, so it's not the same footage, right?
I said we have to do a bomb live or something, some sort of recording, just so we can have more footage for the next time they screw up in Star Trek Online.
Right, yeah, it was. So last week, let's get right to the news. I mean, there's a lot to cover, so let's just jump right into it. All right, so last week we chatted about an exploit, and Jason, you can't see my camera, but exploit air quotes, is going all over the place here. We chatted about an exploit in Star Trek Online that enabled players to level 17 times faster than Perfect World / Cryptic Studios originally intended. And so they went through the whole shebang of going through all the data and everything, and they came up with a solution that, based on how many people did this, which was about 300 characters, that if you gained more than 10 advancement points in these particular areas, they capped it at 10, and they took away all the excess. We thought that was the end of the story, and we kind of dug into what's an exploit, and, you know, should every single exploit result in this type of, you know, bannings and things like that. So we had some ancillary chat to the topic last week, but this week we got to go back to the actual Star Trek issue because it got a lot more exciting this week, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the deal, and I'm gonna put your Star Trek footage up here for you cats that want some gameplay.
Don't want to look at us. I understand.
Hey, I totally understand. A couple of ugly mugs with one ugly porn stash, so, you know, it happens. So here's the deal now. The forums kind of went apeshit, right?
That's a concise way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no... And you consider 250 accounts impacted, 300 characters impacted. How crazy could the forums get, right? No, they went crazy. Crazy, and rightfully so.
250 to 300 people cheated, whereas some other amount might have done this stuff legitimately. But...
And you had expressed last week that, you know, there's going to be innocents caught in the crossfire, and Stephen D'Angelo had said, you know, well, hey, if you think you're innocent, you got caught in the crossfire, of course, contact support will look at it. So they left that open, but it appears that all is not well in Mudville, as they say. Because players took to the forums for quite a few reasons, not just that particular one. So obviously, the experience was changed due to a bad modifier, not an exploit. And that's one that a lot of the players are saying, is that this was not an exploit, guys. This was Cryptic putting in a bad modifier for the experience, you know, the ×2, ×5, that type of stuff, putting in a bad one. And it was reported in Delta Rising's beta and never fixed by multiple people. What do you think?
I mean, I hear that a lot. I mean, again, we talked about it, I think, with Neverwinter, with their the bug that let people make whatever it was, infinite astral diamonds, whatever it was, when that first launched.
On that topic, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I totally forgot when we were talking about it. I didn't mention it. One of our viewers did in the comments. We had talked about Neverwinter and the Astral Diamonds exploit. That wasn't even new at the time. That was an exploit type thing that had happened previously in Star Trek Online years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I totally forgot to bring that up on the show. Because when I typed up the story about Neverwinter when that happened, I remembered quoting different things from Star Trek too. So even that damn thing was a Star Trek story. Star Trek starts all exploits. You heard it here first.
But that was before Cryptic was involved, I think. Or no, it was Cryptic, but not.
No, it was Cryptic, but not Perfect World.
But yeah, I mean, you hear about this all the time. Like, oh, we reported this in beta, and this bug's still in the game, and it's like. Yeah, you probably did, but probably was alongside, you know, 500 other bug reports, a listing of things that are wrong. On the one hand, I don't totally blame them for missing it among all the other things. On the other hand, if you are missing those kind of things, maybe you need to work into your work on your bug reporting, fixing mechanism for betas a little better.
I don't know if I can go with you on this, because here's the one thing that I really hate about this whole thing. I really hate that when we talked about this last week, the story seemed like it was players' faults. Mm-hmm. They were deliberately cheating a system or taking advantage of... they called it an exploit, and Stephen D'Angelo went into explaining what they consider an exploit to be. Yeah, in quotes, exploit. But when you dig down into all of the player comments, and it wasn't just on the forums, man. We had comments on our post of the story. I read through and I linked you a bunch of the comments, not only on the forums but on Massively and MMORPG, all the other guys out there reporting on this type of stuff. And it was just the same concepts over and over and over again, that this was not players exploiting something. This was Cryptic made a mistake with something they shouldn't have. They put the modifiers in the game. Either they fat-fingered the modifiers, they weren't... I saw posts, again, a lot of this is alleged, right? We're talking about players posting their experiences, where they weren't quite sure what they wanted the modifier to be, whether it was 2, whether it was 5, and then, whatever. But I hated the way last week it seemed like the onus was put on the players, to me.
Isn't that how exploits always work? It's always exploits or exploits. It's always, we put in this thing to let you level 17 times more. Obviously, we didn't want to do that. It's a mistake in the code, whatever. Again, you see that all the time. And you can debate whose fault it really is, but that's how they always work. It's always, we put this here, you should know better. That's not maybe the right choice, but...
Then to me, don't call it an exploit. It's not an exploit at this stage. Sure. You're talking about something as small as a modifier. That's it. I mean, we're not talking about massive errors in programming. I'm going to kill that dog. I swear. I'm not going to kill that dog. This is being recorded. No, I will not kill that dog. I am being facetious, but if free to good home if somebody else. But this was just... They purposely put in a modifier. They probably should have checked the modifiers before launch. Is everything ready to go? I mean, this wasn't...
Somebody checked it in beta, apparently.
Right.
Said, hey, this is wrong.
I don't know. I just hated that it kind of reeked of the players did something wrong when really they didn't. A quest was giving and patrol mission in particular, with this particular one, was giving high value XP. Well, okay, it was still boring and grindy. It
doesn't matter. If it's 17 times XP, people will do it.
Yeah, it was still boring and grindy, but okay, it was giving extra XP, so it was more beneficial to go and do it. I didn't like the onus put on the players. Maybe that's just me. Also, though, you had mentioned innocent players were caught up in this as well. What happened with that?
Well, like you said, a few people, or some number of people, did have the issue that even though they leveled legitimately, they got knocked back to the 10 points or whatever you were allowed to do over the weekend, and of course, the dog really hates that. That's why he's barking so loud. But a lot of the players also hated it too, because you're losing legitimate XP. So, so I just had a little moment of silence there, which nobody realizes is because of magic.
That was me playing, having fun with mute while getting the dog to be quiet.
Right. But yeah, so. I think the problem there was that they thought they had this blanket solution.
Yeah.
Where it was just, I don't know how, probably was fairly easy in terms of code. You just go back, find everyone who had more than 10 in that period and knock them down to 10. Problem is, that, like I said, they got a lot of innocent people who got mad at it, and now they have to go through all this. They have to go through the apology. They have to go through the restoration. When, if it was so few people, maybe they should have just handled those individually instead of applying some blanket bit of code to the whole thing.
Yeah, because apparently a lot of people did get caught in this with all the extra modifiers and potions and stuff anyway. So the end result, and you alluded to it just now, was, and in case anybody missed it, they ended up just giving everybody back their advancement points. So if you took advantage of the exploit, you got your advancement points back. If you were caught in the crossfire, you got your advancement points back. As everybody, you have advancement points. You get advancement points. Everybody gets advancement points. points. So they gave them all back, which the forums kind of regarded as thank you. You know, you made the right call on this one. You know, this wasn't necessarily a player's fault, and yeah. Good.
If you could have fixed it right, we would have been okay with it, but
yeah, but
they screwed up.
They weren't able to fix it right. Poor Star Trek. You're thinking about jumping back into this. You used to play this a lot, didn't you?
Not a lot, but I played in spurts. Like I did it for a while, and then it was like 6 months later I jumped back in, and then 6 months later again. But it's been like 2 years now, so I mean to get back to it. Really, I do.
Was the other news enough to get you back in on Star Trek this week?
The new expansion?
Yeah. Oh, no, the lifetime sub.
Oh, lifetime sub. I already have one of those. They gave me one of those.
Oh, nice. So if you don't have a lifetime sub, what's the deal with those? You wrote up a nice piece on this one on the site.
They normally $2.99. Now they're for the low price of $199 for a limited time only till I think the 20th. I have to look at the exact date. But yeah, that gets you. Again, having never had not a lifetime sub, I don't know exactly what the how much it feels to be different, but it feels pretty good having it. You get the 400 cryptic points every month to spend on stuff. Obviously, you have unlimited access to all the things whenever. I mean, as with most things, I would suggest if you're already, I would just obviously start playing it for a little while first, then decide if you want to go into like the whole lifetime sub thing, because that's what they did originally. They had the lifetime sub, and then like a year later it went free to play. So it was like. Good thing I got that lifetime sub.
I love this. Now, full disclosure, you were given it as what I would imagine press back then for some site.
For the magazine, even.
Oh, it was for magazine. Okay, cool. So yeah, you get the instant stuff. Is you get additional character slot, 30 bonus inventory slots added as you level, 60 bank slots added as you level, 20 bonus account shared bank slots, 2 additional bridge officer slots. Again, some of these are added as you level. And I love when they do this. They break down pricing on fictional items that nobody
for a $300 value.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's a $50 value right there. And then you get the monthly benefits as a subscriber. 50 bonus Zen and a bunch of other things. I'm not going to go through the whole list. It's linked in your article. People can check it out. But they value that at over $50 each month. And then lifetime benefits. I'll get the Liberated Borg, which was already in the game, but the Talaxians, brand new, being added as well. So I've never been a fan of lifetime subscriptions.
I've
Have you ever purchased one?
No, I've never purchased one. I thought about it when Lord of the Rings came out. I thought about it and wound up getting one later again as part of the magazine. But even for that, I was just like, because nowadays, especially, even if obviously a lot of games don't have subscriptions so much anymore at all. But even now, that you just can never know if you're gonna really love something, even something you think you're really into. If you're really hyped for, some people were hyped for Archage, and look how that turned out for some people, or for WildStar, Elder Scrolls Online. EverQuest Next, a lot of people are looking forward to now. I like to think that's something I would want to play. You want to have probably about 2 years or so to make the lifetime sub worth it, and you just don't know anymore. So there's so many more options, and there's such a failure rate, I think, in MMOs that I'd be afraid of turning over $200 to $300 right at the start for that sort of thing.
I could see that. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Did Cryptic do the right thing here and reward all the points back? What do you think of the lifetime sub? Chime in on the conversation below. Don't forget to put your weekly bombs in there. Dub bomb, A bomb. You guys were light on those last week. You were light on them. We need the weekly bombs from you guys. You're such an important part of the show. So you kind of alluded to right there, you just don't know anymore. Is the game going to be fun? And is it going to capture you? And a big part of MMOs is the grind. The grind. And so, again, stemming from a conversation we had last week about Terra, we were talking offline about leveling in Terra. And so that sparked a famous Jason Winter editorial piece on grinding and leveling and doing extracurricular things. I'm a big fan of putting on Netflix or throwing in a DVD or whatever. If I'm just batting stuff around for experience, I'm not really paying attention to the story in a game or anything like that. So let's talk about that a little bit. What was the whole gist of the piece here? And you're gonna see our faces for a little bit, guys. Sorry, I promised third topic. I got more footage for you.
I'm wearing pants. I can show you.
Please don't.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, basically, that's what I said. It's like, for me, when I play an MMO, even if it's something, kind of that doesn't have much of a story, or if it's just a kill 10 rats kind of thing, I still feel like I want to look at the world as I go by, and I want to at least kind of glance at the quest text to get, some sort of feel for it. I can't do that if there's something else I need. If I can't do, like you said, put Netflix on and actually watch a movie while I'm doing it. If I have just some random thing like a sports game or something just that I don't really need to pay attention to, that's fine. I can do that. I can have that on in the background. When I'm playing a game, I want to actually play the game. I want to feel like it is my main activity. And doing that as kind of a side activity while there's something else going on just doesn't do it for me. And I just can't. That's part of why I have so much trouble with the grind. You say you manage it okay. You said you got a character up to level 60 in Terra. I don't know how you can do that. Because I've got bored to death around 18 because, again, I'm paying attention to it. Maybe I should have put something else on.
Right.
So I didn't have to pay attention to the horrible story.
In Terra, I have... So let me... What games do I have max levels in that I actually earned? Because there's one or two games that, of course, being press, they give you a tour and they say, sign in with this character. And it's... or they put a max level character on an account that you designate for them. But legitimately, MMORPGs... that I have max levels that I've earned, of course, World of Warcraft. I mean, I think just about everybody has one of those nowadays, right? And no boost to 90. It's legitimately leveling here. Terra, I got my Archer to max level prior to their level 58 boost thing, and then I just boosted a healer because I did not want to level one of those in Terra. Ion, I don't think I'm level capped in Ion. I'm close, but not quite there. Lord of the Rings Online, my burglar's probably in the mid-30s, early 40s, so not quite there.
It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even close anymore.
The level's 100 now.
Yeah, at the time it was close, but not anymore. Rift, I have a legitimate max level. Well, it'll be max level again. Sure. Max level as of Nightmare Tide dropping. Now I got to get that to 65. It's at 62 now. So I have quite a few, and there's 3 or 4 other ones that I know I've earned a max level character in. And Neverwinter is one that, well, I mean, that's a quick leveling curve anyway to do that one. So I don't mind that kind of stuff. The only really thing that Final Fantasy 14, Final Fantasy 11, if we go into all the sub-base games, I have max level in most of those too. So the only thing that really ever turned me off about a grind is monster grinding, and that was really big in Final Fantasy XI. Yeah. You'd get a party, and even if you go back into like the EQ days, when I started with MMOs, it was EverQuest Online Adventures for the PlayStation 2, and then I segued into PC MMO playing from there. But so EQ and Final Fantasy XI was mob grinding, and I hated that. I don't mind a quest grind or a farming grind or things like that. And to me, yeah, I'll put sports on, but I'll throw a TV show on too. I don't.
Just because you get to go back to the guy every few minutes to turn in your 10 rack. It's still the same thing to me. I mean, now someone else made the distinction too in the comments, was saying that, yeah, doing that kind of thing to go out, kill 10 rats, come back sort of thing, to do that for your leveling grind, that I hate. I don't mind so much when you're like playing the actual game as designed. Like if you're trying to level up a summoner in League of Legends and you're running, you're doing Summoner's Rift over and over, or if you're doing, I think you mentioned World of Tanks, you're doing tank battles over and over to get that tier 8 tank or whatever you're trying to get to. That I don't mind so much because you're actually playing the intended game, as opposed to like having to do some World of Tanks thing where you just have to drive around your tank for like 6 hours, so then you get to do an actual battle.
So
that's what I would hate.
What's the alternative then? What's the alternative? Like, what would if Jason Winter was given unlimited funds right now?
Oh God!
To create an MMORPG the way he wanted to. And speaking of that, there's another Awful Ideas post up. We just put it up today.
It's sort of all on the same.
For those of you wondering how the whole recording process works, we record the show Tuesdays. It goes up on Thursdays, so you see it 48 hours later. Today is Tuesday. There's another Awful Ideas there. Check it out. It's pretty good. About open worlds. But when you're talking about leveling, what's the alternative? Because we hear a lot of, and I've seen a lot of this discussion too, of why don't we just take that portion out and make an endgame MMORPG?
Exactly. Just do either just do the dungeons or just do the open world stuff like Like when there's a good, you know, open world invasion going on in Rift, or if occasionally like, they've done some stuff like that in Guild Wars 2, where it's just that's what you do and that's the game, as opposed to do this boring stuff. So then you get to do the fun stuff, you know, whatever. And we've all heard that before. We've heard how much of a pain in the ass that is, and how we're pretty much just tired of it. So why not just have that? And I'm not saying you don't have to work for it. I'm not saying you play for 2 hours and you get the awesome raid gear or whatever. But why not do, you know, an easy version of dungeons or something like that, if that's what you need to do when you're level 6 or whatever? Why not have that instead of that? Has to be more entertaining than just the, you know, going out at level 6 and killing 10 rats or picking flowers or whatever it is.
See, this doesn't bother me. This really bothers you. We've talked about this on multiple shows, not just this one.
I do get a little bit sometimes you don't want that really thought-requiring event stuff that you occasionally, you know, you don't want to have to do a dungeon where you have to pay perfect attention to everything and make sure you're tanking or healing correctly. I get that, but let that stuff be kind of the side thing. Let that little bit of advancement, if you just want to go out and kill 20 mobs or whatever, yeah, okay, go ahead and do that. Let that be the side thing. But most of the time you're doing the good, intense, interesting stuff, as opposed to how it is now, where you have to do all the side stuff so that occasionally you can do the intense and interesting.
I can just see this now. It's like, I'm going to ask Jason to write a piece next week. I want you to describe what you think, write down what you think is an ideal MMO for me, for magicman. And I can just see Jason's list right now. It's like, just boring shit you don't have to pay attention to while you're doing it. No PvP because you're not good at it anyway, Burn. Nice try. It's just going to be like this most self-deprecating list ever.
Oh, God. Now you got me thinking.
But I see. I don't mind this. I like chilling. You know, sitting back.
Like I said, do it as an occasional thing. But it's sort of the required way. It's the required way to get by.
And it's that small incremental feelings of success. It's that good feeling, bro.
Sure.
It's that, hey, at level 3, nice, go me. Now I got a heal spell. I would be interested to see an MMO where it was just endgame, but I don't know. I'm not a fan of taking it all out of there. I kind of dig that stuff, you know? Maybe I'm just... that's why I like theme park MMOs better than Sandbox, boring. I guess. Yeah, I'm just very boring. There it is. All right, so finally in the news, here's your footage, gang. We'll bring up some footage for you. I'm going to show you 2 different trailers here. We'll do the cinematic version and the gameplay trailer. Tome Immortal Arena enters the MOBA arena.
I heard you liked arenas.
We heard you liked arenas. For some reason, this cinematic trailer isn't playing, so we'll go to the gameplay trailer instead. There you go. Enjoy that. Yeah, so what's the deal with Tome Immortal? Okay, League of Legends, Smite, Dota 2, we've got all of those. Breaking news today, Dawngate going away. Womp, womp, womp. I guess we should talk about that for a second.
Well, there was a limit as to how many MOBAs could be announced, so once Tome came in, something had to go.
EA was late to the game. So what's Tome doing that's different, right? That's what we all want to know. Well, we're going to have lanes, we're going to have combat. What are they doing different?
It sounds like they are trying to make it a little simpler and a little more fast-paced. They said matches be in the 10 to 20-minute range. They want to get rid of what they call unintuitive elements, like last hitting, going back to base to purchase, really complex item crafting. And you can see that a little bit in the, I think if you look at the gameplay trailer, you can see that they buy stuff while they're still in the lane. So it does reduce downtime, and of course just the matches being that quick will also help you to speed through stuff a little quicker. So that's what they're going for. And Kickside does a lot of mobile games. That's the company making it. So it makes sense that they would, if they're going to do this sort of thing, it's kind of weird they're doing it in the first place, being, like I said, mostly a mobile social game kind of company. But if they're going to do it, if they're going to do a MOBA, it makes sense they would try to do something that makes it simpler and or quicker.
Here's the game changer. The game changer right here. Here it comes. They're also working on a 7v7 map.
Which, why the hell not? I mean, who says MOBAs have to be 5-on-5 or even 3-on-3 if you're like one of the Twisted Tree lines or something like that?
Here we go, 7v7. It's a game changer right there. It's the game changer.
They said it's genre expanding.
So here's my thing with 5 though. and why I think 5 works, right? For most systems, you've got a 3-lane system, which means you can't possibly have a team in each lane at any given point, right? The most you could do is 2, 2, and 1. So yeah, obviously, depending on the strategy you're running, you may go 3, 1, 1, 4, 1, 0, whatever you're trying to push. But if you try to spread out your units, 2, 2, 1 is as spread out as you can get. With somebody in each lane. 7v7 changes that. Like, think about a League of Legends battle where now there's at least 2 champions in every single lane pushing, and then one that could be jungling or ganking or doing whatever. And that does kind of change the dynamic. I mean, I'm making fun of 7v7 being game-changing because it's just adding people to the fray. But if the rest of the formula is the same as we're used to, that could kind of introduce some new variations on the gameplay, I would think.
Well, I mean, take a look at when you queue up for a dungeon in WoW. What are the options? We need a tank, healer, like 3 DPS, or maybe 2 DPS on a CC or something, some crazy thing like that. Well, but a lot of games don't do 5-person parties. So if you go in and you just think that's the dynamic, that's what you have to have in a party. You know, a lot of other games have 4 or 6 or whatever. So I don't have a problem with it. I think it potentially makes it more interesting if, like you said, they can allow for at least a little more interesting strategy. It might be more jungling, so that you really only have like 5 people in lanes and 2 doing off doing jungling stuff. So I don't know about genre expanding, but I don't see that it has to be 5. Like, that is the ideal number.
No, and I would agree. I don't think it has to be 5. I think 7 is going to change things, though, in a way that people aren't going to be used to, especially if the rest of the format is the same. And that's the part we don't know.
Especially, too, if you get into a big group fight. You know?
Yeah.
Right now, the 5-on-5 smashed together or something. Now you got 7 to like another...
Yeah. And I don't have game footage for this because it just broke, half an hour before we started recording this. But Dawngate from EA, by the way, Tome, if you're interested in it, comes out on Steam later this month on the 21st, November 21st. Dawngate, EA's foray into the MOBA market, which I gotta say was actually pretty fun.
I never gave it a try. But
yeah, and I'm
so much.
Putting me in League of Legends or Smite or whatever is the quickest way to handicap your team to just instantly losing any
dog
event.
Is using the phone now, apparently.
Right. The dog's using the phone, instantly losing. But Dawngate, I kind of enjoyed this, and it's sad because apparently a lot of people did. When the announcement came out on Twitter and the site and everything, the comments were surprised. And now it's like we should hate EA because they're canceling this game, not because they made some crappy game.
That's because they didn't. Well, and obviously people played it and didn't hate the cash shop, so it couldn't have been that bad as EA games go.
Yeah, everybody's getting a refund, by the way. I mean, because the game never did come out of beta. So if you did sink money into it, you will be getting a refund there. Sad to see that one go. Although, as you said, we heard you like arenas. And that's not going to stop anytime soon. We saw your financial breakdown on subscription and free-to-play and MOBA, and there's going to be a lot more of those. It's just going to keep coming. Yeah. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Mr. Winter, you're up first.
All right. I'm going to give a dub bomb to Space Engine. If you've never heard of this, it is not really a game. It's more like just a kind of simulation, not even a simulation. You just kind of go around. You just go around in space. It sets you up somewhere in the galaxy, and you can just go to stars. You can visit individual planets. Very pretty, very neat to look at. You can even go to Earth and the solar system. You can look around there, and apparently the planets in the solar system are actually like mapped out as they actually are, whereas everything else is procedurally generated. So you can go off. You can just pick a star in the sky, you click to go there, and you can go there and just visit it and look around. It's just a neat, fun thing to play around with.
Yeah, the site looks pretty cool. It looks like they're trying to raise money to support the project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's totally free right now. Of course, you can make donations. You can find it on spaceengine.org.
Very
interesting. That appears to be the Russian page.
Yeah, go to en.spaceengine.org if you're looking for the English version.
Okay.
Or you could just go to spaceengine.org and click English version. It's not. They made it kind of simple.
But yeah, it's a really neat thing just to play around with. Looks nice. Just something to have fun with if you're into space.
Originally, I was also giving a dub bomb for Trove, which is going into open beta on the 5th, so tomorrow. By the time you're watching this video, open beta will have started already, since you'll be watching it on the 6th when we post it to the site. I'm going to change. It's still a dub bomb, but I'm going to change it today because Hex Shards of Fate has moved to public beta, and I love me some Hex. If you're not familiar with it, Gameforge and Hex Entertainment, it's an MMO/trading card game. Free to play, you get like a $10 startup deck to go and play. And then, of course, just like, the Hearthstones and Mights and Magics and of the world, you could buy packs and things like that. But check it out. Goes into public beta, finally. All the PvP options are available. There's a number of AI bots. I'm going to be doing a first look video probably later this week or weekend for it so that you guys can check it out if you're not familiar with it. I've been playing it since access started for Kickstarter backers. So new tutorial, new UI. Now, the stuff that I'm really interested in, though, the PvE aspects, the MMO aspect of this whole project, they're not in the game yet. They're still working on those, and they put up a post about how they want them to be awesome and everything. So check it out, Hex Shards of Fate. There's a link right on the website to go and check it out. Let's go to the viewer bombs here. Sailor Naruto 39 gives an A-bomb to Terra, which we were talking about last week. Says, along with Gumbo and Philly cheesesteak, I tried to like Terra. But the action combat didn't feel smooth like Vindictus. Well, Vindictus does have some smooth combat. It felt exactly like any other tab targeting game. I was hoping it was going to be a better Raiders.
What does that require to be better than Raiders?
Raiders came out second. Raiders Z.
Raiders.
Yeah, Raiders came out second. And a lot of people thought Raiders Z would be a better Terra, and it wasn't. It eventually got boring, and I didn't know what I was doing anymore, so I said, that's F it.
Beep it.
Beep it. But still, every time I hear about new, I'm tempted to return. So I think Sailor Naruto will be checking out the expansion. Sailor Naruto also has something for our question of the week last week, but I split it up this time, so we weren't overlapping like we were last week. What did you take that next one?
All right, this is from Mr. Eskimo EQIB. All right. He says, A-bomb, free-to-play servers population of non-stop trash-talking children, for lack of a better description. I'm not sure when global chat turned into racial and demeaning blurbs, but it really makes games more difficult to enjoy and even more difficult to find normal people to play with. This by itself makes me play more games solo or wait until I hit level cap to try to find others to play with. If only people treated games like games just to have fun. Free-to-play games even more so since you're getting a full experience for free. Yeah, chat and MMOs can be...
Chat sucks.
A thing.
Chat
Some games
sucks.
are better than others.
Terra's general chat really sucks. Really sucks. Put Elin in a movie title in the comments below. And now I've guaranteed what all the comments will be. I count this next one as an A-bomb for you, or a dub bomb for you, Jason.
Oh, goody.
Yeah, kudos to you. I count it this way. I hope you'll see why as I read through it here. This is from Light Magician 60. Says, oh my god, that second topic hit a note. Last week's second topic was your limited time MMO piece. My biggest thing with MMOs is progression rate. If the way to the top is dull, I won't play. I'll get bored trying to get there. If the top itself is dull, I also won't play, because what's the point? MMOs are sandboxes. MMORPGs are RPG sandboxes in a way that's not meant to be an end, but because it's an RPG, there has to be forward. If instead of looking at it as a beginning and an end, look at it as the whole thing as either the beginning or the end. This way, the same all the same all the way, though. As long as you have a gimmick or combat people like, it'll keep going well. It's that simple.
Mm-hmm. We kind of need to find a new topic to talk about, though, because we're kind of beating on this one a bit.
Hey, our viewers chimed in on it, man. They loved it.
I know.
They wanted to talk about the limited time MMO. Our question last week, when you play an MMO, are you predominantly solo player, only grouping when you have to, or do you play in a group most of the time, even when questing? I answered last week. I said I'm predominantly a solo, probably about an 80-20 split. Why don't you give your answer before we get to the viewers?
I solo, not so much by choice, but by necessity, and the fact that I don't like to group up usually with random people because they're jerks.
I group up. I play solo out of necessity because I hate people. I just generally dislike people.
No, people. Did you hear the guy talking about global chat a few minutes ago? Those are the people I hate. And then the problem is, if you have a friend in the game, they're probably like 5 levels ahead of you or 5 levels behind you, so you can't really play with them. So it just.
Yep, and we have
we'll just handicap themselves.
We have a number of viewers that chimed in the same way. Echo List
I haven't read these yet, so I'll take your word on that.
Echo List says, I play solo. Finding a group can be fun, but I rarely find nice people that I'll always group with. That's why, as mentioned in this episode, the party finder system is crucial to a successful MMO.
Like, I remember when I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, when I was leveling up in there, they'd have those group quests, in the zones, like you need
the heroics.
Heroics, yeah. And I would just spam chat. I'd be like, anyone want to do this? Anyone want to do this? Anyone want to do this? Like, one of them while leveling up I actually got. I could find a group of 4 to do. And it was fun. It was enjoyable, but you don't need to do it because they make everything else so easy to solo. But I agree, you shouldn't be forced into doing it because then you can't progress at a certain point. It's a problem they all have.
To continue Sailor Naruto 39's comments from the bombs, go for it.
All right, Sailor Naruto 39 says, I think I have a fair balance between solo and group play, with group being more dominant. I suck at games too much to do most things by myself, but oftentimes trying to do organized quests with other people can be a B.
It can be a bitch.
Yeah, well,
I'm just going to say it. It can be.
I didn't know what we were bleeping, I didn't know.
I bleep the F word usually. Okay. I think there might be one free-to-play cast where it slipped through. I was very, very angry about a topic we were talking about years ago. Leaf16 says, or Leaf16 Nut says, for being massively multiplayer online games, MMOs are basically like single-player games. That's one reason I prefer sandbox games. They force you to interact, talk to players, actually play the MMO part of MMORPG. Plus, the world feels real, not level 1 area, level 2 area, level 3 area, etc.
Yeah, and he's kind of right in that sense. That
yeah.
When you play a more open world sandbox game, you don't. It's not just progress from, and that's part of the quest design. You progress from this quest guy to this quest guy to this quest guy. If you can move around a lot more, you're more likely to run into other people.
2 more. Pad Soldier.
Right. Oh, this is a huge one. All right. Hold on, gotta take it.
I know people wrote some books in the comments this week, which we appreciate. We'll read them on here. It's no problem. We can make it all your comments. Just don't forget your DeBombs.
It's less crap that we have to make up. I could just read stuff off a screen all day long. We do a whole episode of that.
There we go.
Anyway, Pad Soldier says, solo play versus party. If I play a game without my friends, most of the time I end up stopping within 3 days, 2 weeks of starting because it becomes monotonous. Like leveling a character, level cap in WoW usually has at least 1 month-long break around level 40. If that's the case, I group up with randoms when needed for some quests, like elite monsters with long respawn times, and of course when queuing for dungeons. Sometimes I stick to the same people for multiple runs. Just randomly inviting people is not my thing. I'm not doing that, though I tend to accept it in case we're doing the same quest in the same zone. But when it ends, I quit the party. When playing with friends, things get a lot more interesting. It usually starts out with everyone being on the same level, and then the next day some are already 5 to 10 levels ahead because they kept on playing on the characters we, or at least I, made for group play exclusively, and I do not want to play that character alone, especially because this is usually games we've played before, so the leveling process is boring already. Thus, such things usually don't last longer than a day or 2. But if you had a limited time MMO, we only played 7 hours a week, they'd have to keep up with that.
Oh, you and the damn limited time MMO.
But yeah, that's and one thing I've done in a couple of games, that, like you said, make characters that you are exclusively going to play with other people. Like if you've got a buddy, one time we actually had a full group of 6 for Lord of the Rings Online that we kept together for a long time. And we just did level those characters. We picked like Thursday night at 8 or whatever it was, and we just did those same ones.
Good old static parties.
Yeah. So we kept within a couple levels of each other. But if you do that, you have to have an alt too. It's something you can play whenever you feel like it, because people are going to do that and they're going to want to play that stuff whenever. So if you want to do that, go ahead and make a party with friends that you only level with those characters, then have something else on the side you can play with.
Guestly says, just finished watching episode 1. I swear, I hate that dog. Oh, it's because I'm the only one in the house today. And so normally there's other people here. Guestly just finished watching episode 114. Thank you again for your work. Enjoyed it a lot. I'd like to give my answer. I mostly play solo. It would be 75% solo, 25% friends, and I don't enjoy to play with random players. Scar from World of Tanks and other games where random players just ruin the mood or the game. But this is time when I have to play a bit with randoms. It's hard to get the right time to play with friends, family, work, basically life, and gameplay like Terra or Arcade, where you start and mid-game is driven by quests. One of the friends levels while you're offline. Of course, everybody's got that jerk friend that levels when you're offline. Jason, we're only going to play this game and level these two characters when we're both online. Why the hell are you level 26?
What's worse, just to interrupt, what's worse when you log out, you and your buddy log out at night. Okay, it's midnight. All right, I'm going to bed. All right, see you. You're like both level 10. You check the next day, he's like level 18. Like, what were you doing? Oh, I just did one more quest. Just
like one more quest. What are you playing? Star Trek Online? One quest and you gained 8 levels. Where you start, mid-game is driven by quests. One friend's levels while you're offline and gets ahead of you. It's frustrating because we can't play together anymore until someone grinds or the other one waits. Some time ago when I played a lot of Lineage 2, the percentage was the other way around. 25% solo, 75% groups, so a lot of things have changed. And I would agree. I remember, grouping a hell of a lot more 10 years ago, in MMOs.
Because as you said, you're kind of required to know the clear content and to get a decent amount of XP.
Yup. So our question of the week this week for you guys is, would you ever buy a lifetime sub? If you have already bought one, would you buy it again knowing what you know today about your game of choice? Tell us why or why not in the comments below. Make sure to leave your weekly bombs, dub bombs, and A-bombs for something good, something bad in the world of gaming. Doesn't even have to be free to play. I don't care. You want to talk about it? We can talk about it. That's what the free to play cast is all about. Jason, where can everybody find your stuff?
They can find me on the Twitter at Winter Informal. That corner, right?
Other side.
That corner.
There you go.
Okay. Winter Informal. Streaming twitch.tv/JasonWinter. Did a Halloween stream actually last week, right on Halloween. I was all costumed up and everything. Had my webcam going, all sorts of stuff.
What?
Yeah, I think it might still be available. You can still watch it on the channel a little bit, I think. And, of course, if you follow me on Twitter, you'd see the pictures of me dressed up. But anyway. And sometimes I'll still blog, jasonwinter.wordpress.com.
And of course, check out Bomb Live on Thursdays at 5 Eastern on our Twitch channel. That's twitch.tv/MMOBomb, where Mr. Winter plays some free-to-play game every single week for your amusement. Team Fortress 2 was quite fun.
If you're watching this on Thursday before the stream, it's going to be Lord of the Rings Online and their new Bjorning class.
See you Thursday. I'm magicman. You can follow me at magicman1, MAGICKMANN1. Until next time, gang, stay safe. And you know by now, we'll see you out on the servers.